for the pt.8 that they had to sell to help subsidize the institution. Actually, the water paints are actually grown here too. So, if you have any questions about anything that's on there, so I'm just going to get in this.
Wow, look at the smell. It feels good.
Are you guys get the light working?
Huh? Yeah. They came in.
Ah, cool.
That's pretty cool, huh?
I thought I was going to say.
Look, there's signs over there.
Yeah, I like the
Oh, he wants to see. Here. Well, we have a typewriter like that.
I know.
Wow. I have a desk like that. What'd she say? Oh, okay. Let me get it on video.
Anybody have any questions about things you saw in the other room? The very first room you went past was actually the staff office, and it's operational, so.
I know.
Yes. I'll let her go first.
Okay, beginning of 71, I came down here for a job.
Aerial shot.
And they took me on
That's a
tour and
big-
brought me to this building.
A lot of buildings here, right?
And they brought me in here. There was these cinder block walls were here, these doors. It was all open warehouse bedroom rows, and they were cribs because they were patients that, couldn't walk and what have you. So the adult cribs. So it was wall to wall, and there's one aide. She's dressing one, one's over here undressing, because they loved to undress, they were good at that. So she said, look out for the puddles. Well, the whole floor was ruined. So they took me upstairs, unlocked the door, took me in, locked the door behind us. And there's all these men, some of them dressed, some of them not dressed. One aide, clothes over her arm, dressing one patient. One sitting playing in a pea puddle, and of course he had to get up, come over and grab my arm. So I didn't know what to do. I mean, it scared me, and they said, oh, that's Johnny, he won't hurt you. He just likes to pee on people. Okay. So they unlocked the door, take me out and lock the door. Now, they didn't tell me there's only one aide there because the other aides are taking patients to appointments. And then at lunchtime, everybody's back from appointments and you have the full force. But they didn't tell me that. And all I know is this aide is locked in there with all these men. And they took me up to the third floor. That was a different ball game. The Bright Boys lived up there. They helped with everything in Pennhurst. Dietary, laundry, groundskeepers, everywhere they worked. Helped out in the farms. Well, it was immaculate. They had spreads on their beds, doilies on their dressers, everything shiny and clean. So I went home, and they called me half a dozen times at least to come in for the job. I said no. They said, we think you did well at the tour. If you come in, give it a try, you'd stay. I said no, so I wouldn't come. So 5 years later, Philco Ford closed down, and I went to the unemployment office. They said, go to Pennhurst. Come down to Pennhurst, start tonight. Last thing I wanted was to be here, but didn't have a job, 2 kids, so I'm starting tonight. And at that time, they had one nurse on the entire grounds, both upper and lower campus. And everything was done by telephone because she couldn't be everywhere. So it was an experience you'll never forget because then you poured medications for the nurse 3 times on the ward. And with her supervising you, then you're qualified to handle the medications, give out the medications, control the meds, the whole 9 yards. So it wasn't too appealing. But like I say, after you're here a while, you start looking at the patients a little different. In here, the ones that were in the cribs, some of them were grotesque and twisted up, and their features and everything. I mean, you never saw this stuff out in the community. That scared me to death. That was bad enough. Then when we went up to the second floor, like I said, they were the low functioning hyperactives. And then I was afraid of, really afraid of. And the bright boys, they were great. But it was a learning experience, and the first thing you did, you started looking at the guns and cribs and stuff, and didn't pay different than anybody else after a while, because you saw the person. And then the second floor wasn't as bad as you expected. And like I say, so you hung around a while, and I made it 16 and a half years. So in fact, they closed the place to get rid of me. Because I left and get laid off in July, and they closed in November of '87. So here I was, and here I am. She got me back in again. And I come back with the veterans in between this.
Yep. It's sucker punishment. Yeah, one little thing I have to tell you, if you see a dot on you, that means you guys gotta move. You need a map clear thing. So my story's a little different than her story. I had a friend that wanted to work here. I did not want to work here. But she came in here and, over in Limerick Building, you guys saw Limerick Building, that's Limerick Building. She had to take her test, civil service test in there. Before you worked here, during the years I worked here, and I started 75 to 85, you had to take the civil service test and pass the test first. So she went in that little door there to take her test. She left me outside. I had all the people outside coming up to me saying, hey, Mom, you got cookies? Mom, you got candy? Mom, you got a cigarette? Mom, you got a light for my cigarette? Well, they scared me half to death. So I ran up to the door and banged on it and said, hey, can I come in and take the test? They said, oh, sure, come on in. They were always looking for people because they had a huge turnover. There was a saying here at Pennhurst, if you made it past the first 6 weeks, you stayed forever. And that was very true. Most people in that first 6 weeks, they kind of left. But anyway, we had 2 weeks of training before they set me loose on the wards, and they gave me my keys. These are my original keys. And they told me to go to different wards to, to get acclimated to people and to actually do the work with them. Well, during that time, they told me to take, you a guy? Girl? Well, no, I used Chris. No, he was a guy. They told me to take that guy to special him. I'm like, what's special? They said, oh, that's another Pennhurst term. You take them and check them and see if they're wet or soiled, or you take them to the bathroom and stick them on a pot. And I'm looking at them and I said, what? And they said, yeah, just take them and pull his pants down and stick them on the toilet, And I was like, I was 19, so I was kind of stupid and kind of naive too. And I'm like taking this guy by the hand, he's just smiling at me all the way to the toilet. I was like, what's he gonna think of me if I take his pants off, But when you worked with them for a while, you understood that you had big adult bodies, but in their mind, they were little children. So he was probably about 4-year-old mentally. He didn't think anything of it. It was me that had to get used to the nudity and everything else. And that's something you did have to get used to, that and all the other little idiosyncrasies they had, because they had tons of them. Lots and lots of fun things. So, the buildings that you didn't see today was Rockwell. That one is rubble. And the 2 annexes of dietary and Hershey. They all came down. These ones came down this summer. And Hay Building. Hay Building actually came down in 1975 when I started. And the guy that got the job, I'm sure he was a man that lost a lot of money because he told them he'll have it down in 2 days. When he didn't realize, if you look over here where my dot is, we are solid brick buildings, not brick-based buildings. We are solid brick. Plus they had iron girders in there to hold them up. So it took him over 2 weeks to get it down, so I'm sure he lost a little pennies. It was not a good thing. But we do have in the bookcase over here, we have a really nice picture of K Building when it was up. We have our certificates, mine and Mrs. Essex. Every month we had to go for training. We went to, I don't remember how many of them we went to, but we do have most of them, but we don't have all of our certificates. And we do have pictures here. It looks like the building's coming down. Actually, it was being built. So if you guys came in and saw the big hospital building that belongs to the Veterans Center, the older part of that was ours, actually, and they built onto it. Made it a little better. So, you see, this is clear, I'll do the rugs now. If you see the rugs we have here,
Oops, sorry, Donna.
these are actually were made here by the people that lived here, and they were another one of the 50 items that they made to help subsidize. And over here, there's another rug, and we have a letter from the woman that her daughter brought it in and donated it to us. But if you look at this rug and look at the corner of the rug that is over here where he is, it was like the same type of rug being made. Now, I didn't have to chase them out of the way.
Soft.
But I gotta chase these guys now.
They're soft.
Anybody that's back here, you wanna go back up this way. Go back to Chris. He's the one that helped me. He stayed here for me. In this case over here, we have a little booklet that Pennhurst used to put out every year to tell you about the services that were offered here. The original one was the Eastern Institute for the Feeble-Minded and the Epileptic. Then it went to Pennhurst Hospital, then Pennhurst State School and Hospital, and then Pennhurst Center. When it was Pennhurst Center, they didn't have any more children here, so it was all adults. On the top of it, if you want to see what my job description was, under all the crumbs up there, there's a job description, there's a job evaluation, and an injury report, and I have one of my pay stubs and also a pay check that I didn't think much of apparently because it was only for $6, and that wasn't my weekly pay like some people thought it was. It was for a little bit of overtime, so I put it in a book and I forgot about it, and it was a good thing I did because now I can display it to you guys. We have this first case, I don't know if you looked at it or not yet, but in this case, there's somebody's records from the first time they were admitted to the Western Union Notification telling them that they passed away. It's not all her records, but it's a good bit of her records. If you guys have any questions about anything, interrupt me because I'd rather you get an answer to your question than let me go. And on page here, we have shoes that were most likely made here at Pennhurst. And probably for the same person because the toes are cut out, so she must have some deformities on her toes. We have original postcards, which I thought was kind of weird because it's like having a great time if you all were here. And we do have a Special Olympics patch, which I'm sure you never heard of. We have Special Olympics here. We have a human restraint cuff. We told them about the dollars, right? We just recently got a $5 bill. And where's my person?
Elvis, me.
Yes. They asked about Elvis, right?
Yes, ask about Elvis.
I cornered her in the beginning. Elvis did not come here. Elvis did not perform here. He didn't live here. And when we were looking for artifacts, we found it in one of the closets. So apparently either him or her, one of their relatives went to one of the concerts and got it signed for him.
Oh.
And he forgot it when they left. So we found it. It's now Pennhurst artifacts. We do display it.
That
The
is,
signature is supposed to be valid because we had two impersonators that came in, and the one guy had his name tattooed across the back, his signature tattooed across the back on his cap. So of course we took it out and compared it.
You're right.
Now whether it's Elvis's real signature or if it's one of the secretaries, we don't know. But it's the same as that guy had one. And I get to say Elvis has not left the building.
that's right. He never did.
Remembering. The helmet we had on the bottom here was for people that had uncontrollable epilepsy, because the floors are hard here. If you hit the floor, you're going to break your head open. That was only for people that had uncontrolled by medicine epilepsy. And they were nice and soft, and the little air holes kept you from baking. The little animals you see in here were another one of the things that were made by people that lived here, for people that lived here. And you will see some machines that they were made on. Not right now, but later. And the little bottles, the reason I display them, if you look at the very top of it, says Pennhurst State School and Hospital Pharmacy, because we had pharmacy, we had woodworking shops, we had metal working shops, we had everything that you'd find out in another community we had here. So, you guys want to hear some good stories about Pennhurst?
Sure, yes.
I already told you about the Special Olympics, because I'm sure you didn't see that on the internet anywhere. And the little pink soap that I have in there, that was called Pennhurst soap. And when I started working, I worked on this ward. There was 48 men here. Most of them were in wheelchairs. We had some that were unsteady on their feet. And why you put unsteady people on their feet in with people in wheelchairs, I don't know, but that was the state for you. But most of them were not potty trained, so we had to quite smell here. Pennhurst soap, provided by the state, had little bubbles, very little bubbles, and no smell at all.
Oh.
So you know our guys still smell. By the time we were done bathing them, they still smell. So us aides got together and everybody take a turn every different week to go out and buy different colognes and to buy different
Sprays
so
and-
that they smell better. And that was what we did on our own, out of our own pockets.
Wow. With $6.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I said, that was for overtime, it wasn't for a regular check. And I'm gonna have to move you guys just a little bit. I'm sure you guys were looking at our dirty little t-shirt here, right? And wondering why we are displaying a dirty little t-shirt, right? Well, one reason it's dirty is because it's from 1982, and we're afraid to wash it because we may not have our dirty little t-shirt then. So, but the reason we have it displayed is if you look at the top, it says Lakeview on it.
Yeah.
Lakeview, anybody local? No?
Mm.
In the next town over in Royersford, they used to have a park where there's Giant and Coles now. They used to have a little amusement park. And once a year, they would close down the park and make it Pennhurst Day, so the people from Pennhurst go to the park and enjoy the park, whether you stay for 5 minutes or 5 hours.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, well, so they were invited along with their parents, if the parents are still talking to them, or to them, or coming to see them. So, I know you saw some of the pictures here. I don't know if you noticed our baseball team was definitely integrated long before the major leagues were. And they did come and play with the other people from the communities too. And over here, on this picture here, we have a brass band. These are older pictures. But anyway,
Oh, I'll have
the
to
brass
look at it.
band, we had a country band, and we had a orchestra too. Huge sound right there. Guys don't know where I got my bad back from.
Yeah.
Sitting on a wheelchair board.
I hope I don't turn like that. Because I work in a nursing too, so she and her and our backs hurt us all the time.
I know.
Our sciatic right
I
all the
know.
way up
Have a bad
and up
sciatic,
here.
too.
See? You never
Well, I
know
I had a
what,
person ask me, where's your Hoyer lift? And I'm like,
there is none.
we are the Hoyer lift.
Yep. Arm in arm
Yep,
or arm and thigh.
yep.
And we're the strongest
First 5
people
years,
alive.
yep, first 5 years I worked here, I worked on
It's
Middle
true.
Ward. The other 5 years I worked in Quaker Hall too. They was bad boys of Pennhurst, and when they gave me the option to go there, I was thinking to myself, they walk. They go in the showers by themselves. They go to the toilet by themselves. They can stand up and get dressed by themselves. Okay, I'll take it. But anyway, the guys down here were a lot of fun too. But getting back to the brass band over here, these people should have never been here. Anybody here try to play a violin ever?
No.
For the orchestra, you know what guitars look like, right? They have frets. You can tell somebody start on the 3rd fret and then start strumming, you know? Violins, there's no frets. You gotta figure it out. You gotta know where the notes are. You just have to know. So if you play a violin, a viola, a cello, or a bass, these people should have never been here. First of all, if you can read the music and you can find the notes on a violin,
You're
you should
smart.
have never been here.
Mhm.
Should have never ever been here, but that's the way it was back in the day. We also had a lot of orphans here because you've got to remember this was opened in 1908, so we had World War I, World War II. We had the Depression years where people couldn't afford the kids, and you also had the Spanish influenza. So we did have a lot of orphans. Those people would stay
Sad.
here till they were 21, because that was the legal age at that time, and a lot of them opted to stay here and be paid employees when they left. Other people left. So, but those might have been some of them, but they still shouldn't have been here.
No.
Do you guys have any questions about anything while I'm blabbering? No? Did you go to our math list?
I believe I did.
Chris said there was a pool. Where was the pool at?
The word Devon is,
Oh.
in between Devon and here. There was a pool.
Oh.
There was also a pool up in, and actually it was functional when the veterans took over up there, but they filled it with cement from what I heard.
Oh.
The floor used to open and they had a pool,
Oh, wow.
so.
That's interesting. Did you ever go swimming in it?
I wouldn't go in the water they were in, are you kidding?
Why? Why not?
People that aren't potty trained,
Oh,
Go
well,
from
all
there.
right. Okay, all right.
I wouldn't go in the water, I don't care if it's treated or not, I'm not going in that water. You know, a lot of people took our people from here home for holidays and such. I never took any of my people on this floor because they weren't potty trained, and I never took on the guys that I worked with on Quaker, because if they went off, you need more than one person to take care of them.
Oh.
So, my guys never went home with me. I'm not gonna pee in my car.
No, I don't blame it. Yeah. And there was no, like, how should I say it, since it's politically correct, briefs or undergarments, diapers,
We had diapers, but they
but they
were
were,
cloth diapers.
cloth
They didn't
diapers.
have a rubber panty that went over it or
Yeah.
anything, so You can
Oh.
take it from there if you work in a nursing home, you know what I'm talking about.
I used to wear them when I was a baby. I know, yeah, my mom used to put me in with the little safety pins
Yeah.
and then the rubber
You saw
diaper.
our safety pins in the cabinet, right?
No.
Right in the bottom of the cabinet.
Oh. Yeah, I used to have duckies on mine. Yep. I did. My mom used to put the yellow and blue duckies on mine.
And you didn't have disposables then?
No, not yet.
So, it would have been nice if we had some pull-ups, it would have been really
Mhm.
nice. But I don't care, they're still not gonna clean my car. You guys are done looking
What's
at
that
it,
key
we'll go
for?
down to another room.
I don't know.
What's the key for?
Ask
I know
her.
I told my husband about some of the patients, how I liked them, what they did, you know, and he said about telling you something right now, because his aunt had worked here for years. And he said, I'm telling you right now, you're not bringing them home. So, the law was set, you know, so I never tried to take them home.
Oh.
Besides, I had 2 German shepherds, I don't know what they'd have done with them.
Where's she speaking to? Hold on. Are you guys ready to go to another room?
Sure.
You guys stay on this side of the room, I'm gonna be on the other side.
Okay. Oh,
Thank you. And you just
that's a lot of hard work right there.
on this side.
You can check out this room, she'll tell you about it.
You guys will see everything on that side later on. This is our only way to keep you together.
Oh,
Some
wow.
people disappear like they're not supposed to.
Oh,
Or go over to the other side or do that. So that's how we keep you together.
oh, look at the
The next
clothes.
room you're gonna view is actually, it was our laundry room, it still is a laundry room. And a lot of the clothing in there has names in it from people that lived here. Some of the people that I've worked with are in there, their names. The big scales you see in there were from laundry. Not everything that's in here, the artifacts are from this building, they're from somewhere in the institution. We brought the scales over so you can see them. They used to weigh the laundry before they put it in the machine, so they didn't overload the machines. The big cart you see in there is not a dead body cart. Because everybody thinks it is. But anyway, it's a laundry cart. It's how you move the laundry around. I have a story to tell you about the guy I worked with here. And when I first started, they didn't have private clothing. They had state clothes. And then it consisted of a white t-shirt, a snap-down shirt, and pull-up pants. The pants came in 5 different colors, red, green, yellow, blue, and brown. Well, Tony, who was one of our ambulatory guys, needed a pair of pants. And he was an extra large. The only thing in extra large we had were red pants. I gave him a pair of pants. He looked at my pants. He looked at me. He looked at the pants. He looked at me. Took the pants. He threw them on the floor. He raised his fist up, and he chased me all the way down to the office. So I ran to the office, and I shut the door, and he's beating on the door. And there was an aide in there. I said, what the hell did I do? Because it was only my first week that I was working. And she said, you didn't give him red pants, did you? I said, yes. She said, he don't like red pants. So I got to do that again. But anyway, before I send you away to the next room, you want to guess what that thing is right there?
Wash machine.
It's an extractor.
You squeeze the water out.
Well, it will squeeze water, but it's not what you're thinking.
Iron press.
No.
Okay, I'm way off.
So if you guys are done looking in the laundry room, just go into the next room where Mrs. Essex is there. I'll tell you when we get in.
See, intriguing minds. So neat though, and it's all organized.
Well, it was organized when we were working here too.
Major effort when we put it all together.
Oh, sure. Oh, wow. Oh, these are the dividers.
Yeah, when these come in, it was a whole lot better. They took census down.
Yeah. Oh, they're metal? Yeah, they're metal. Wow, how about that?
So everybody that took a guess on what that is, it was a mop bucket.
A mop bucket.
Huge. Yes, it was.
Wow, that's a huge mop
I was
bucket.
very lucky when I started the little one that was next to it, that's why she had a big one.
Oh, whoa. Wow, no wonder you got your muscles, see? A mop bucket. I never would guess a mop bucket.
This little ball that you see here, the very first curator, the Times got it first when they knocked down the water tower. So that was the very top of the water tower. If you look at this picture right here, you can see it when it was done in all its glory. What the guys were doing most likely up there at Christmas time, they used to put a big lit colored star up, and at Easter, they put a big white cross up. So, that's probably what they were doing, getting ready to put it up. I know you see some of our fire equipment here, and this was my absolute favorite right here. Main reason being, they used to put a big fire in the fire pit and let us put it out so we didn't have to put fires out. That was part of our training that we had. And if you look at the little label that's on it, that was the Pennhurst sticker. There's a whole bunch of them on all kind of furniture and everything that was here at Pennhurst, because somewhere in Harrisburg there's a big book with all the numbers that correspond with everything we had here. I'd love to see it. Must be a really huge book. But anyway, on this pillar right here, you want to look on this side of it, there's a picture of a clown, and I'll tell you more about that later, but that was put here by one of the aides that were working here. And the main reason it wasn't in a frame and in a picture on the wall was because if our guys got a hold of it, probably would have got hurt by breaking the frame and getting the glass on it. So I'm going to tell you about the banners, because I'm going to give it over to Chris, because he does it much more eloquently than I do. So, action, work.
So yeah, the banners that you see around us over here are a snippet of history
You hold it.
provided by the Pennhurst Memorial and Preservation Alliance. They're a nonprofit organization that started as a result of this location being sold after it had been abandoned in '87. So just kind of think about this. After '87, they closed the doors and this place was no longer functioning anymore. And then for a long period of time, it just sat here becoming overgrown and out of service. In 2007, it was then sold from the state to a private, it was up for sale, I should say, and a private team of 3 investors bought this plot and turned it into an entertainment venue. As a result of that, PMPA were pretty much not happy about that. They wanted to preserve the history here, and they were not happy with the idea that somebody was going to make a farce of this location. Understandably so. The locals were very upset about this. And so their job, pretty much as they saw it, was to try and remember this place and not let this memory die. The local community saw this place turning into an entertainment venue. They saw the Pennhurst Asylum brand being born, and they were afraid of what exactly was going to happen here. The local community actually had come in and started to vandalize the place upon sale, because they were like, no, you're not going to do this. I found it very interesting that they vandalized this place in respect for this place. It was weird, but at the same time, heightened emotions make you do silly things sometimes, so I can't blame them. I understand where they're coming from. What they didn't see, however, was that immediately upon this place turning into an attraction in 2010, Mama Ruth, or Ruth Himes, as Donna mentioned earlier, she was the first curator of the museum here. That opened along with the asylum. In fact, the first 2 rooms of the asylum were devoted to the museum. You could not enter the Pennhurst Asylum attraction without first going through the museum. And so immediately upon us starting to do stuff here, we had the idea of remembering the past as a part of our bit. They would teach you about the history of Pennhurst as they had it, and they would show you what artifacts were curated. And then we'd say, all right, here's the history. Now that you know the history, let's go ahead and have some fun. And you would go into the asylum. We had always, as I mentioned earlier, tried to make it so that the asylum brand and the actual Pennhurst were 2 extremely different entities. That they were mutually exclusive, just the only thing they shared was the name and the location. But they are 2 very different experiences and different entities altogether. The local population and the PMPA did not really know that. They were doing their thing. And again, I understand it. Ultimately, though, I did have the opportunity to, I forgot to mention that PMPA was founded by this dude right over here. I mentioned his name earlier, Dr. Jim Conroy, the guy who escorted the last 2 patients out of the hospital for the very last time. He was associated with Pennhurst in that he started what's called a Pennhurst longitudinal study, devoted to tracking the patients as they left Pennhurst and making sure that they were receiving what accommodations they could, making sure that their civil liberties were being given to them. And so that was his job, that was his project, was making sure that, intellectual disability was being respected